Hey everyone, it's Jay here. Welcome to the first session. In this session, we're going to go through the course outline for the next couple of weeks that we'll be working together. We'll be building a really exciting game together that I call the Lost Pendulum. It's an exciting Uncharted, Tomb Raider inspired game. But of course, you can definitely name it something else. But in this video, we're going to go through the chapters that we'll be going through together. That should prepare you for the next couple of videos that you'll be watching. And the pacing of this course is completely up to you. You can watch as many videos as you can consume per day, but I really recommend that you complete your challenges, your homework, keeping up with the community, asking any questions, and slowly taking these in so that we can guarantee that within the next 21 days, you'll be fully prepared to build any game of your liking. All right, let's jump into it. So we'll be starting off with an introduction to Unity3D. So if you haven't done Unity3D before, worry no more, you can actually get started with that video. So I want you to actually go through these videos one by one in its correct order, because they're actually built to be or designed to be consumed in that way. So you should go through them one by one in its correct order. But if you feel like you can jump a session, you can jump a certain video because you're kind of familiar with it, go ahead and do that. But I really recommend you at least skim through the video and see if you're not missing anything. In this chapter, we'll be walking through the interface of Unity, some of the tools that we'll be using to get you familiar with Unity as a software that we'll be using in the next couple of weeks. And then we're going to move on to designing your first game. So we're not going to jump straight into the development. We're going to plan it a bit. So it really helps me as a game developer to sort of plan or create like a simple document, a very rough document. It doesn't have to be like a book, a game design book or anything. It's just one document where you're going to put down all the mechanics, the scope, and everything that you'll be building in your game. And this is really important because the scope of a project can really go, it can really blow out of proportion if you keep adding new features, new exciting ideas into it. You got to have a limit, and that's why this document is really important. So we're going to create a very rough document with the plan, and we're going to understand what exactly we are building and some of the concepts, some of the mechanics, and the narrative and things like that, right? So, and then after that, I'm going to introduce you to a little bit of scripting. So the basics of scripting, we'll be building the player as a start. We'll be building some basic player movements so you can move around. It's going to be a third-person game. With that, you're going to get sort of a proper idea about scripting. And if you haven't done scripting before, you haven't coded at all before, that's totally fine. We'll be starting from scratch. We'll be starting with the basics. It's going to give you a sort of a crash course in programming. And once we're done with that, you should properly understand how to use C# in Unity. And in general, all the programming concepts will be covered. So if you haven't done programming before, don't worry, we're going to cover that. And later onwards in the following chapters, we're going to dive deeper into scripting and some of the advanced things as well. But we're going to make it very digestible, so so that you never feel like you're sort of like missing things. There are gaps in the middle. We're going to try and cover everything. That being said, make use of the community. If you have a question, always prompt it and people will answer. After that, we're going to dive into UI design. We'll be doing some animations, and we'll be doing some audio as well. So audio is super important in any game. So we're going to do audio here as well. We'll be exploring spatial audio, some 3D audio, things like that. And we'll be doing some lighting and effects. It's one of the most exciting chapters, this one, because we'll be really bringing our game to life, right? We'll be using fog, some lighting, some sort of ambient occlusion and some of those effects as well. So it's an exciting chapter. We'll be exploring physics and collisions, some triggers, some rigid bodies, colliders, and things like that. And then the most exciting chapter out of every chapter, I'm sure in any game dev course, is the level design. So in the first few chapters, we're going to be doing a block mesh version of our game. A block out level is another way of saying that, which is basically using basic geometric shapes to design your entire level instead of actually bringing in detailed 3D models like trees and rocks and all sorts of things. We'll be using replacements like cubes and things like that. And that really gives us a feel of the game before even building the rest of the game. That way we can design the entire level and explore it and see if it's missing anything, we can add it and then sort of explore and start building some mechanics before we jump into level design. But in this chapter, the level design chapter, we can explore some of the secret strategies that a lot of these AAA studios are using to bring their scenes to life. And we'll be building some advanced sort of I wouldn't say like advanced, but it's more of like the human psychology, a way of thinking about worlds, right? So how when you walk into a room, some rooms feel bigger and more exciting, whereas some rooms feel dull. And it's because of a combination of things. It's the way that the room is created, it's the lighting, it's the placement of things inside of it, and things like that. So we'll be diving deeper into that as well. And then we'll be replacing all of our block mesh models with detailed models from the asset store. So one important thing about this course is that we'll be using only free assets, and I'll actually be referencing all of them, and I'll also be downloading those packages and providing under each video, right? So after you watch a video, just make sure down at the bottom of the video, you'll see all the resources that I'm referencing in that video, right? So this is super important, because if you ever want to sort of go through the document, or if you want to grab the same assets that I'm using, you can go through the link, or you can just download the Unity package and get started. So that's one thing that you got to keep in mind while watching these videos moving forward. Then we're going to dive into enemies and AI. Now, this is an exciting chapter as well, where we'll be putting some, some bodyguards, or like, I don't know, some sort of enemy that can actually create a challenge for the player, right? They'll be shooting, they'll have a combat mechanic, they'll also have a state machine with multiple states like idling or patrolling. They'll have a combat state, they'll have an investigation state, and that sort of thing. So we're going to build that as well. And then we'll be diving deeper into game mechanics, some of the rules of the game, how we're going to beat this game, some of the challenges, some of the puzzles, and things like that. And then we're going to go into saving chapters so that your players can have a progress and you can reload them. You can save and load and things like that. We're going to also dive into some UI and HUD design, heads-up display. We're going to have a game menu, browsing chapters and things like that, and some options menus as well. And then beyond that, it's all the same chapters, but we're going to dive deeper into them: advanced animations, advanced audio, advanced lighting, advanced physics, and so on and so forth, where we're going to revisit what we did and we're going to improve it. We're going to dive deeper into some more concepts, and then we'll be improving the look of the game, the feel of the game, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm pretty excited about that. Last but not least, we'll be building your game, making sure it's compatible with the target platform. So we'll be building it for PC in this course, but you can easily port it into other platforms as well. Only thing you got to change is the input, but in this course, we'll be focusing on the PC build, and then we'll make sure that we cover all the bases there so that you can even launch it on free websites like itch.io, or if you're really serious about your game, you can even launch it on Steam. So I'm going to quickly walk through some of those things, and then beyond that, there'll also be some bonus content at the bottom about troubleshooting and some of the frequently asked questions and things like that. So one thing that I want you to cover with every single video you watch is make sure you don't skip anything. Make sure you go through every single video, and make sure you do all the challenges and keep up with me, and try to build this game with me, and rewatch these videos as many times as you like until all those concepts get drilled in your head, right? That's really important. So we're going to do this together. We're going to build this game together. So feel free to do the same thing that I'm doing, but obviously it's game design, it's the 3D world, right? So bring in your own ideas, make it better, and then, yeah, have fun with this. It's going to be exciting. I'll see you guys in the next video.